Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all okay. Welcome to... Hiya. Welcome to what we're working on now, 9 of the E-Racer Supreme Series. Got another banger of a session. Yeah, just more e-racing type training. We're going through the specifics very shortly. I just need to turn my trainer down a little bit. I've got to do my normal kind of messing around before the session, so I'm going to have to adjust it during the session. So forgive me for that. I usually poo around, but here we go. 10 seconds till we get started. Got the normal 10-minute warm-up, so you've got my normal kind of spiel to go through. But for anyone that is new to these sessions, off we go. My name is Rich. I'm the head coach and founder of RIAK Fitness. We're a coaching outfit, kind of looking after cyclists, triathletes, anyone crazy enough to do this sort of endurance sport malarkey. Quick shout out to our partners, as always. I know the first thing on your mind is, what jersey is Rich wearing this week? I like to wear a different sun-dried jersey each week. Give them a quick shout out. This is the men's Cadence jersey and bib shorts. That's their kind of like, well, you can see kind of the rumble strips on the arms, etc. This is their kind of aero jersey. I've gone for a size bigger than I would normally wear, just so it's a little bit more flattering. Because as I say, this is like their aero jersey, so it's meant to be proper snug. But yeah, we're not feeling toit lycra this evening. So yeah, just remember guys, you can get 30% off anything at Sundried using our code, which you'll see running above me there. Oh wow, what timing, I didn't even plan that one. Yeah, use that code, you get 30% off. Well, if you're watching this on demand guys, just go to the RIAK online page on our website and all the codes are there. You'll also see a code there for 80/20 coffee, and various other things as well. So what you want to know is, what are we up to tonight? Well, we've got another fantastic e-racing preparation session, and just a quick heads up for anyone watching the live stream or the guys in Zoom that are following the session along with me. Just a reminder, these sessions, you know, are intended to be kind of interactive, but it's kind of fair enough. Like, these are tough sessions, so if you're not fancying talking too much, that's fair enough. But I think tonight's session is slightly different. You should have plenty of opportunity to ask any questions. We've got a lovely 15-minute segment in the middle, cruising effort, bridging between kind of two horrible VO2 efforts to some more horrible VO2 and sprint efforts. Okay, so if you've got any questions this evening guys, it's always a good idea to get them in early so I have a bit of time to think about it if you can. But if you're on Zoom, you can unmute yourself and ask away at any point. You can use the Zoom chat, you can use the RGT chat, or if you're watching the live stream, you can leave comments on the live stream and they will come through to me, hopefully, if I've done my job properly. So yeah guys, got a really good opportunity to answer these questions. I've always got stuff to talk about, but it is better if it's the stuff that you kind of really want to know about. So do feel free to ping some stuff to me, otherwise I'll go through what I want to talk about, or feel I should talk about at least. Right, yeah, so I'm going to be manually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to turn erg mode off. So just ignore my plan this evening. It's going to go red. I normally basically adjust my FTP so that I can just cruise around 2 watts per kilo, but I forgot to do it. Had no excuse, had all the time in the world to get ready for tonight's session. Sorry, 1 second guys, with audio. So I just had a question coming in about my audio. I think it's coming through okay. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, no, the audio is on RGT. Just bear with me 1 second, guys. There's a new race radio function on RGT. I'm just gonna send a quick note in. Hi everyone, welcome to week 9 of the RIAK Races Supreme Series. If you're looking for the live coaching feed, that is on Zoom. The details are in the event description. I will not be burdening you guys with my voice unsolicited, so I'll be quiet now. But if you wanna talk to us, interact with us, come join the live Zoom coaching feed. Details for that are in the event description. Otherwise, everyone, have a great session. See you later. Thanks. Okay, let's turn that off now. Right, okay. So I'm just getting some questions about the audio. So tonight's session, we've got the normal 10-minute build up. Every couple of minutes, cranking the wattage up by about 6 to 10 watts. We then got some juicy fast pedaling efforts, okay? So this session starts aggressive. So if you're sort of half asleep, get it going. Do whatever you need to do. Okay, because you can see we've got these 3 fast pedaling efforts, and they are well above threshold. They are big. And then you've got a very short break, but we're straight into the VO2 time trial segment. Okay, so fluids on board now. Do whatever you got to do to get yourself ready for this session. Get yourself pumped. All right. So yeah, we've got these fast pedaling efforts. They're about 30 seconds long, and they're sort of a VO2 level. They're primer sets, as well as being fast pedaling efforts. So this session is purposely very aggressive. So that's what it's like in the knee race, isn't it? Let's face it. You start out big and you start out heavy, a lot heavier than this. Normally, when you start a knee race, the first 10 seconds is a full gas sprint. Okay? But what we are trying to do is hit you early with some hard efforts. You know, when you're not warm, you're not necessarily prepared. Because, yeah, hopefully you do a good warm up for a knee race. I'll put money on you not doing a decent one though. So at the time of this session, for anyone watching on demand, there are actually RIAK workouts in Wahoo RGT. Okay, we've got I think 3 or 4 pre-race warm-ups in there. So if you didn't know about them and you're doing a race soon, use them. These are about 20 or 30 minutes long. You know, get going and then finish it with about 10 minutes to spare so you can flip over onto the race server. But there are warm-ups out there. This session, however, very short warm-up, straight into some big 4-minute Vo2max sets. Okay, so we're going to be at 115% of FTP for 4 minutes. Okay. Now, the good news is we are going to be turning erg mode off after the 3rd fast pedaling effort, and you're going to have very little time to sort it. So just a quick run through of how you sort the sort erg mode. You go to the sensors menu, and I did it earlier, but you don't have to do this now. You can do, perhaps a good idea to do it now. Turn this erg mode tab off. It should be green if you've got a smart trainer or a smart bike. Turn it off until it goes white. And as I say, we're going to do those 4-minute VO2 sets with erg mode off. This whole session pretty much erg mode off, because it is tough. You do not need to arbitrarily try and keep a flywheel up to velocity. You want your effort to be your effort. Okay? So 2 of those, a little bit of recovery in between. And then we've got that long 15-minute bridge where if we don't get any questions, I'm going to be digging down into the deepest reaches of my mind, coming up with content to try and cover. Don't worry, I do this all the time. Yeah, please do hit us with those questions in that cruising section. And then we've got basically 3 sprint builds at the end. Okay, we've got that long recovery section. And one of the things I will be talking about is why e-racing isn't training. Okay, I'll go into that in more depth. It's often something I get asked about, and people always say to me, particularly new clients, new athletes, like they do a lot of e-racing or they do cyclocross racing or mountain biking, whatever, and they talk about their races as training. No, that's a slippery slope, guys. I'll tell you why in that 15-minute sector. All right, so there's sprint builds at the end. You've got 1.5 minutes at 118%, and then a full gas sprint at the end for 30 seconds, and 30-second sprinting is long. Okay, I wouldn't necessarily even call it a sprint. It's just a horrible anaerobic effort. We've got a long way to get there, those guys, so we've got the first fast pedaling effort coming up. Just trying to turn my fan on. Forgive me, it's very cold where we are, so I just cannot put the fan on when we start these sessions. As unprofessional as it might seem to stop and start smashing the fan around, but no. Here we go then. Okay, so we're well above threshold now. Okay, 115% of FTP, spinning up those legs, so get that leg speed well above 100 RPM. Come on guys, spin them up. You've only got another 2 opportunities to wake up after this. So it's action stations right from the off. Last few seconds. 3, 2, 1. and relax. Okay, just back to a normal cadence. You can ignore the target in the intervals in between. It stays at 110 RPM, annoyingly. Just normal pedaling around it, to around sort of 85 RPM. Okay, 2 more efforts. So you've just got 2 more chances to wake yourself up. And as I said, we've done this purposely so that you get to those VO2 efforts a little undercooked, a little under-ready, and you've got to try and dig yourself out of that kind of malaise and just go for it. The same way you do in an E-race. You know, first few minutes, your chest might be on fire because you're just not ready for it. Okay? So let's do our best. 3 seconds before we go again. 2, 1, let's spin up, come on. Over 100 RPM. Let's try and get to that 110 RPM target this time. Go on, spin up, spin up, spin up. Last few seconds. 2, 1. Good, and relax. Keep the fluids coming on board. Just little sips. You're gonna have a lovely 15-minute segment to rehydrate. So just keep it small. Okay, one last opportunity to get it going. And then you've just got a minute before we go straight up into that 4-minute TT. So remember, erg mode is off now, or if not, just do it after the next fast pedaling effort. But get erg mode off very quickly if you've got a smart bike or a smart trainer. If you've got a power meter and non-smart trainer combo, don't worry about erg mode. We do a lot of our sessions with erg mode off though. I've explained in previous sessions why. But if you're interested, there's an article on our website called To Erg or Not to Erg, which explains the context in which erg mode is useful or not useful. Anyway, last fast pedaling effort. Come on, here we go. Spin it up, spin, 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 spin. Power, 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 power. Get those legs going. Come on, guys, come on. Rev those legs up. Halfway. Last few seconds. And relax. Well done, guys. Right. Erg mode off. If you missed my little explanation of how to turn erg mode off, and you're on a smart bike or smart trainer, go to menu, go to sensors, top right. This button will be green. Turn that until it goes white. And then just wait 15-20 seconds. And then basically your trainer will start to simulate the gradient of the course. It's a pan flat course, so don't worry about anything else. But if you're on a smart bike or a smart trainer, get that erg mode off. Okay, spinning up now. Yeah, absolutely, Matt. Yeah, thanks for reminding me about that. So Matt just said there's a toggle erg. Don't worry about that, guys. It's just another one of my webcams falling off. Yeah, so there's this toggle erg button on the front screen, so you can hit that as well. But just once you turn it off, leave it off. Because I had an instance the other day where I tried to turn it back on and it skipped the interval. Which you might want to do, I don't know. Anyway, here we go. Come on. Up to Vo2max. So, looking after your own gearing, looking after your own power. We're into time trial mode. Trying to hit that 115% target as best you can. 115% of FTP for 4 minutes is rough. So just do your best. If there's a bit of ebbing and flowing in your power, do not worry, just do your best. Keep your cadence nice and high, well above 90 RPM, and just drill this out. You got 2 of these, and then you got an absolutely obnoxious amount of recovery. Okay? We're hitting you hard and fast, but then we're going to be kind. So just do your best, guys. Give it everything.
Okay, first minute's down. If you can, do your best to relax in the upper body. Very easier said than done. Very much easier said than done when you're rocking and rolling. But do your best to keep that cadence high. Try not to get sucked into pushing a big, heavy 60, 70 RPM gear. It isn't efficient. You will fatigue more quickly, and then your next effort will be even harder. So keep the leg speed high. I'm up to halfway. Come on, guys, you're doing such a great job. Keep the power on. Don't ease up. Keep drilling it home. I'm in towards the last 90 seconds. I always think when you get to 90 to go, that's the kind of end game. That's the final push. Here we go, 90. Come on. You're not far off the final minute. Just keep it focused, keep it steady. Okay, last 60 seconds, guys, come on. Don't worry if you're finding this really hard. We've been necessarily evil in getting straight into it. So don't worry, just do your best. Don't give up. Into the last 30 seconds we go. Come on, lift it one last time. Get that leg speed well above 90 RPM. Let's finish this off. "15 seconds. 10. Last 3, 2, 1. Yes, guys, well done, well done. Just ease off quick, ease off. Into a nice easy gear. Don't worry too much about the recovery target. Okay, it's kind of arbitrary. Just spin up the legs. Once you've got your breath back, then put the pieces of your soul back together. Just slowly bring your leg speed back up above 80 RPM and just soft pedal. Just small little bits of fluids going on, not too much, because you haven't got enough time to get it into your system. So just wet the mouth, basically. Really well done, guys. Really well done. As I say, necessarily evil in the way we're starting this session. Aggressive in the same way a race is. Okay. And the best one in the world, you may well not be properly warmed up for it. You know, rushing home from work to get ready or whatever. You know, still getting dressed as the race starts. Done it all, guys. I know how it goes. Ideally, of course, you would have done a really good proper warm-up, and our warm-ups are currently available in Wahoo RGT. But yeah, realistically, you don't have time. Well, many of us don't have time to do a full 30-minute warm-up before a race, but do something. Use some or all of that, those warm-ups. But even then, you may not be fully primed. The general rule is the shorter the race, the longer the warm-up should be. So 30 to 45 minutes ideally. I know that sounds ridiculous, but yeah, for a top-level racer, really nice long warm-up before an e-race, because it is a blast. Anything from 30 to 60 minutes in e-race. So let's get ready for round 2 now. Come on, rev up the legs, get the leg speed going, and then we drop the hammer. Come on. Round 2. And that leg speed well above, that cadence well above 90 RPM, probably over 100 RPM. Stay motivated, just remember you've got a long recovery sector after this, okay? And then you've just got 3 big efforts at the end of the session. Okay, so this is the last really brutal effort. So double down, keep it going. Let's get the job done. Coming up towards the end of the first minute. There you go, 3 to go. Oh, keep the power on, keep the power on. Get that leg speed nice and high. Just do your best. Remember, there's going to be peak ebbs and flows in such a hard interval. Do not give up. Do not worry about whether that interval goes red or green. Just do your best. Stay positive and keep battling. Coming into halfway. Come on. If you allowed your cadence to drop and the power to drop, let's switch the legs back on. Back well above 90 RPM. Power back up to 115% of FTP. And let's just drill this home for the last 2 minutes. Back into that 90, coming up to that 90-second end game. Remember, that last push for me, that's always really motivating. But I've just got 90 seconds. I can even count up to 90, so I can count down from 90. Right, 10, then we're into the final 60. Here we go, then big last 60-second push. Come on, and you got a ton of recovery, almost too much recovery. So just get there, last 50 seconds. Driving it home, do not give up, do not let off. Even if you're not hitting the power targets and you're just suffering, keep suffering, drive it all the way to the end. Ignore the power target, just do your best. Final 30. Nearly there, guys. Last few seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, guys, really well done, really well done. Just breathe. If you're a little bit behind, just keep on going. If you're falling out of sync, just keep on driving it to the end. Those of you that finish though, just spin up. Don't worry too much about the recovery target. Just spin up the legs, get your breath back and then bring the legs back up, bring the cadence back up above 80 RPM. So there you go, guys, 8 horrendous minutes testing out your Vo2max. Brutal. And as I said, guys, do not stress if that interval on RGT, when it goes red or green. It really doesn't matter. What's most important is that you are working kind of at the right effort. Sometimes your power, albeit it's the best metric, it's real time and objective. Sometimes you just can't hit the targets, you know, you're just a bit tired, or, you know, we haven't warmed up properly. So don't be too harsh on yourself. If you managed to hit that perfectly, bloody well done. I know I wouldn't have been able to do it today. Well, I mean, I'm on a rest day for a reason, but I'm knackered today. So I know if I was doing the session full gas, I would have struggled to get through that. So really well done, guys. I think that's one little takeaway. I've just got 30 seconds of recovery before we go up to a cruising level. Okay, so erg mode stays off, but we are going to go up to around 65% of FTP, and I'll explain why shortly. But just get ready to pick your effort back up again, albeit just a zone 2 kind of cruising level. It'll feel like a 4 out of 10 effort, or should. 10 seconds, so I'll just get ready for that interval first before I carry on what I was saying. 5 seconds. 2, 1, up we go. Okay, so as I was saying, some days, you know, you just don't have it, and some days, and we do this for our athletes in our squad sessions every now and then, is we will put in a workout that we do not expect people to be able to do to the full extent. We call it an end of range session. We test people to, as a phrase kind of suggests, we test them to the end of their range, and it's the sort of session that they have to be on a really good day in order to do 100% perfect. And there's just a reason for it, you know. It teases things out, and a session like this isn't an end of range session, it's just a bloody hard one. And those 4-minute VO2 intervals, I would say, are kind of end of range type intervals. Okay, so don't be hard on yourself if you didn't smash those absolutely perfectly. Not necessarily intended to. All right, but if you did, big pat on the back. Yeah, good stuff. Really well done. But one thing that if you're not able to hit those intervals absolutely perfectly, you know, fall back on perceived effort and your heart rate. So you should know your threshold heart rate. If you don't, when you do your FTP test next time, make sure you understand what your average heart rate is for that 20-minute FTP test, or the performance testing that we do. Make sure that you know what your threshold heart rate is, because it's important, because that effort, you should have been above threshold. Okay, and if you don't even know what your threshold heart rate is, you can't really gauge where you are. So those intervals, not the easiest ones to kind of compare, but say you are doing a pure threshold effort. If your heart rate is 10, beats above your threshold heart rate whilst doing a threshold interval, and you're feeling crap, yeah, that's going to tell you something. So you have to turn down the wick, get your heart rate back to where it's intended to be, and just do your best to fulfill the spirit of the session. Okay, that's a phrase that we use a lot with our guys. Just explain to them, when you're not at the races, you just got to do your best to fulfill the spirit of the session. Okay, and we use that phrase particularly when it comes to run sessions. We look after a lot of triathletes, and we just say to them, running, is the one where it really is 50-50 whether you're on a good day or not. And so if you're not able to get to the pace targets, fall back on perceived rate exertion, so effort out of 10. So in this context, those 4-minute VO2 intervals, they should have been like a 9 out of 10, 10 being a full-on anaerobic sprint. Okay, right now we should be at a 4 out of 10, around 65% of FTP, cadence upwards of 80 RPM. Cheers to the wave, Mike, always nice. But yeah, cruising, recovering, probably still feeling those VO2 intervals, but hopefully in time you're going to feel better. Now the reason we got this long cruising bridge is because we want you to recover so that those final efforts at the end are really high quality, and you may even get some peak powers out of them. But we don't want to cruise too easily. We don't want to be sort of at full recovery mode around 55% or below in terms of FTP, because if you recover too much, you get cafe legs, and then you're just too cold and your muscles are asleep for when you need to go again. So we're riding at a reasonable level. Okay, cruising effort, this is the sort of effort you should do on your long endurance rides. Yeah, so that's why we got this long cruising interval. Which reminds me, guys, if you've got any questions, do feel free to ask. Just if you're on Zoom, you can unmute yourself, or I'll keep abreast of the Zoom chat. If you're watching the live stream, we are keeping abreast of the comments in there, or of course you can use the RGT chat as well. I'll keep talking, but if you've got any questions, just fire them in. It doesn't have to be about this session, it could be about training, it could be about recovery, anything you want, guys. Just got a lovely 10 minutes of cruising. Just pause briefly. Yeah, thanks. Oh, Matt. Yeah, you're a great prompt tonight, mate. It's fantastic. Yeah, Matt just reminded me of one thing I was going to talk about. Racing is training. I get this a lot with new athletes. Talk about, oh yeah, I'll do this. Oh, I didn't want to do that threshold set that you set me. I did an e-race instead. I thought it'd be really good training. It's just not, guys. Okay, so the reason yeah, sure. I just seen that question come in on RGT. I'll come to that as well. The reason racing isn't training, and the reason we're not basically doing a full race effort in this session, is because when you race, you have to go so deep. Even if your TSS, your training stress score, doesn't necessarily reflect that, in terms of effort in the session, it bloody well will. Okay, so yeah, guys, racing is not training. You go too deep, you need recovery. So a lot of our athletes will race midweek, but we structure their training around that race. So the next day will be some sort of recovery or a proper low intensity session. And we will then also manage the level of intensity elsewhere in their week to kind of balance out that race. Okay, so yeah, racing is not training, guys. Racing is racing, and then your training should be built around that racing. And the same goes for e-racing, because e-racing is tough. You know, it is brutal. It's short and sharp and absolutely disgusting. Great fun though, but as I say, if you go do a race, you're going to go very deep, and then you're going to need extra recovery as a result, and that'll have a knock-on effect on your training. And also, an e-race, it's not targeting a specific energy system, so it's not training. Your training should have a very specific purpose. So is it a threshold session, sweet spot session, Vo2max focus, a blend of two maybe, but not blend of everything. You know, so your training should be focused. Racing is just not. It's anything but. It's chaos, and it's wonderful for it. But you know, if you're looking to improve, each of your sessions should have a very specific focus. And if you're just racing all the time, that chaos is anything but focus. Okay, so I think I've laboured that point enough. You're e-racing regularly. Just make sure the rest of your week, your training is structured to balance that out. So it might mean you don't get to do too many high intensity sessions as part of your week, because that e-race is so big. And this is one of the reasons why cyclists in particular who race very regularly, you know, race every weekend, their FTP and their aerobic fitness actually drops during the race season, which might seem counterintuitive. But you'll see guys like Van der Poel, Van Aert disappear mid-season to go on big training camps, get big volume in, and that's simply because they're racing every week, sometimes twice a week, and they might be, you know, super, their speed endurance, their repeatability in terms of anaerobic stuff might be getting better, but their overall fitness is dropping because they can't do the training sessions that would keep their level up, because they just can't, there's just not enough time to recover from everything. Okay, so that's something else to keep an eye on. If you're racing really regularly, your aerobic fitness, your underlying general fitness may well be dropping. And so if your performance starts to lag, particularly towards the end of a race, yeah, potential issue there in terms of lack of aerobic fitness. That's that long, slow, low intensity mileage that we all need to do on a pretty regular basis. So questions that are coming in. So yeah, some really good questions. Best for fat burn. So I assume is that the kind of like best sessions for fat burn? I assume I'm going to go on that basis. So we're all obsessed with fat burning. You know, myself included. You know, I'm just as vain as everyone else. But and you'll see lots of marketing spiel out there on high intensity sessions, really good for fat burning. Fat burner 20-minute session, blah blah blah. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Basically, guys, your long, low intensity rides, they encourage your body to metabolize a greater percentage of fat for energy. Your body becomes more efficient at utilizing fat, and it protects your glycogen stores. Okay, when you do high intensity efforts, you burn through your glycogen stores because it's so easy to kind of use as fuel. And so one of the reasons, alongside just building stamina, endurance, why those long, low intensity sessions are important, is because it does, as I say, it teaches our body to kind of rely on fat and burn more fat before we start hitting into those glycogen stores. If you've got no aerobic base, you're going to be straight into those glycogen stores from the first pedal stroke. And you will to a certain extent anyway, but because it's high intensity. But my point is, like, you'll be into the red, burning that glycogen faster than you otherwise might do if you had a good aerobic underpinning. And then when we come to fat burning, which often, you know, HIIT classes in the gym, you know, spin classes sell themselves as, what we're talking about there, you don't burn very much fat in that session itself, okay, because the intensity is too high. You're straight into those glycogen stores. Fat is hard to metabolize. It's slow to metabolize, and so you're not going to be burning much fat in the session itself. What they're talking about when they talk about fat burning is your kind of heightened metabolism after a session, where your metabolism will just be sitting a bit higher. You will be using kind of more calories at rest, and to a certain extent using more fat for energy. And the same is true when you do a big weight session. You know, you have that hour after a session where if you're taking on a good amount of protein, etc., yeah, you will have elevated fat metabolism. But guys, this whole fat burning marketing bollocks, just ignore it. Your training should be very balanced. Around 80% of it should be low intensity, and then 20% of the overall volume should be high intensity. So cumulatively over the week, you know, if you do 10 hours, cumulatively maximum of 2 hours of high intensity work. Okay. See if we've got time for the other question. It was 90%, 95% of max heart rate at the end of the second interval. Yeah. Yeah, that's a disgusting interval. You know, 115%, you're on the edge of your aerobic capacity. So your Vo2max is the maximum volume of oxygen you can utilize at any one point, basically. And so when you're on that limit, if not above it, you're going almost entirely anaerobic. And so if you think about where your max heart rate sits, you know, that is your end. That is pure anaerobic work. And so it's not a surprise if you're at 95% of your max heart rate, particularly for 4 minutes, because 115%, if I was setting a normal 4-minute interval, I would not probably set it at 115% of FTP. You know, as I said earlier, the idea of those intervals that they were testing your range, testing your ability to do that much work at such a high level. So yeah, not surprising really, if you're at 95% by the end of that fourth interval. Bloody horrible stuff. Anyway, yeah, thanks very much for the questions, guys. I'm at 50 minutes is floating by. Well, for me anyway. Trying to think up answers, maybe not so much for you guys, I don't know if they were good answers or not, but hopefully some sort of useful information. I do sometimes go on a little bit of a rant, often when there's marketing nonsense involved. This industry, the fitness industry in particular, is rife. My top advice to you guys, if you take nothing else from this session, criticise everything. analyze everything that comes out of, yeah, even me, you know, test me, analyze me. Yeah, I don't mind. They're free sessions. Yeah. Well, for the people doing them live, they are at least. You know, but yeah, criticize everything, guys. Particularly if it's selling a product. The laws in the UK on marketing and advertising are an absolute joke. Absolute joke. Particularly around food. Food standards in terms of marketing, frankly, are criminal. That's a rant for another time. Let's get focused now. on that positive note. Right, so 10 seconds. So let's rev up the legs. Let's get ready to drop the hammer. So remember, you've got a minute and 30 seconds at 118%. Here we go. That's the first step. So get those legs going. No doubt they're a little bit jaded, a little bit tired, and have gone to sleep a little bit with that long, slow interval. But that's what we're up to. We want to keep you warm, but we also kind of want to go back to like a race start state where you're not necessarily you know, firing on all cylinders. That's what we're testing tonight. Your ability to pull it out of the bag when you're not really ready for it. So a minute to go, and then it's just going to be a max level effort for 30 seconds. Okay? Keep your cadence nice and high throughout. Okay, last 30 seconds at this 118% mark. Full 9 out of 10 effort. We're about to go 10 out of 10. Just do your best, guys. Get ready to drop the hammer into warp speed. Whatever cliche you want to use. 10 seconds, rev it up, get ready. 3, 2, 1. Let's hit it, come on. 30 seconds. Drive it, drive it, drive it. Come on, guys, drive, drive, drive. Come up to the last 10 seconds. So this is the finishing sprint. So pick it. Let's kick. Come on, kick. Push, 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 push. All the way to the end. 5 seconds. Do not stop yet. 3, 2, all the way. 1. Well done, guys. Well done. Really good stuff, everyone. Really good stuff. Just breathe. Spin the legs up. Don't get too complacent, though, guys. We haven't got long. It's a minute and 40 before we go again. So get that leg speed back above 80 RPM on the cadence. Okay, don't worry too much about the recovery target. It should be around 40% of FTP. But just spin up the legs. Don't stop entirely. You may get going again. So we've come up to the penultimate interval, guys. Okay, this session is like a sledgehammer in terms of its approach, but hopefully it's over quite quickly because there's actually relatively few high intensity intervals, and we're up to the penultimate one in a minute's time. Okay, so just think about that. Get through this interval, and there's just one more left for the entire session. Okay, I always find that helps me in terms of motivation. When you get to the penultimate one, you know you just got one left, and that's when adrenaline can help just kind of get you over the line. So around 40 seconds, pick the leg speed up. Let's try and get above about 85 RPM, so we're not, you know, slow standing start. Right, 10 seconds, rev it up, come on. Rev it up. Let's get ready to go for it. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go, come on. 9 out of 10 effort, 118% of FTP. Really nice high cadence, get well above 90 RPM on the cadence. penultimate effort. Oh, guys, go on, come on, come on. You can do this. Stay on that limit. 60 seconds, then we empty the tank. $45. Okay, coming up towards 30 to go. Come out to the last 15 seconds. Get ready to go for it. Ready? 5 seconds. 2, 1. Here we go. Come on, sprint, guys, sprint. Lift it, and then we're gonna kick again at 10 seconds to go, and that's gonna be your last finisher sprint. Okay. Come on, last 10. Come on, finish the sprint. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Kick, 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 kick. 3, 2, 1. Good stuff. Come on, guys, just breathe, just breathe. Spin up the legs. Try not to stop. Keep turning them over. Your lungs and your legs will come back to you. Really good job, everyone. Really well done. Just spin up the legs, getting back above 80 RPM. Hopefully that heart rate's dropping rapidly, but don't worry about it. You've just got one last interval to get through. One last push, guys, and then it's session over. Well, cool down, but otherwise session over. Okay, guys, bring the legs back on line for the final time. 20 seconds until we go. 90 seconds at 118%. Finishing off with that last 30-second effort. Okay, this is it, guys. Come on. 10 seconds, rev it up. Final time, final effort. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Okay, 9 out of 10 effort. 118% of FTP. Cadence well above 90. This is the sort of effort where suddenly your cadence is super slow. Pick a gear that allows you to hit a nice high cadence. Let's finish this off properly. Just do your best to hit the power, but keep the leg speed high. Come on, you're nearly there, guys. You're so close now. Just 45 seconds. A last push and you're done. So stay on that edge. That aerobic capacity, if not slightly anaerobic now. Just driving it on. 30. Okay, last 10 seconds, rev it up, get ready to push into that never land. 3 seconds, come on, 2, 1, let's kick it, come on, push. You just got 30 seconds of full gas effort. Drive it, guys, come on. You're so close now. $15. Let's kick again for the final time in 3, 2, 1, let's kick. Two, 1. Good, well done everyone. Well done. And breathe, you're done. Just relax. Just chill out. Spin the legs up again. Don't worry about power targets, don't worry about cadence targets, just get moving. You want to try and flush out some of that lactate. Okay, got a nice long cool down after that. Really well done everyone. So just breathe. We're down at about 40% of FTP right now for another minute or so. Then we're just going to raise it slightly to about 45%. And then that's going to be our final 3 minutes. Just having a cool down. Make sure you take the cool down, guys. Your legs will thank you, particularly when you try and step off the bike. So really well done, guys. Just seen one question coming in over the live stream about, I assume it's my power, 377 watts. So just to explain how I run these sessions, guys. Generally speaking, I cruise through them because I do my training elsewhere. I often train with our athletes, or I'll do my own sessions. I actually raced yesterday, did a cyclocross race, got my ass kicked, like properly, like mediocre stuff. Anyway. But yeah, so what I normally do is I turn my FTP right down for these sessions, so everything's still nice and pretty and green across the top, albeit I might be, zone one-ing it. Forgot to do that for this session, that's why everything's red, and that's why it's still setting my target at around 377 watts. But as I said right at the end of the session, doesn't matter what it was set up, there was no way I was getting to that sort of level today. I am gassed. Just turning my legs over now is hard. But yeah, so then we're just wondering, that's how I generally run the sessions, so that I can actually talk. I do train and coach with our athletes on a Tuesday evening at the moment, but it's only once, I can only do that once a week. It's horrible. But yeah, thanks for your time, guys, and if anyone's got any questions, thanks very much for your questions, anyone. Apologies if I got into a slight rant there. There are things in this industry that really wind me up. I just think, yeah, this industry was a little bit more honest, everyone would be a bit happier. I'm just a bit more chilled, But yeah, thanks so much for your questions, guys. Some of them all of them were fantastic. Really, really great to understand what it is you guys want to know about. So yeah, thanks. Yeah, of course, go ahead. Yeah. So the question was, for anyone that couldn't hear the Zoom feed, the question was about going really hard at the beginning of a race and then that's you gassed. Yeah, no, totally. I know your pain. So there's two things. One, it gets easier. If you race kind of fairly regularly within a balanced training program, of course, as I was saying, that initial horrible start gets a bit easier. You get able to judge where to go at. So for instance, I know when I do it, I maybe do a 10-second max effort, and then if I'm not within the front group, fall back. You're not going to get there. Yeah, so max level sprint for about 10 seconds and then ease off. But as you say, yeah, you might be gassed for the rest of the race, even if you kind of take a really measured approach to it. And that's kind of what we're trying to address with these types of sessions, is that anaerobic repeatability, that ability to kind of go really hard and then recover at a suboptimal rate. So still being at, you know, sweet spot or near your threshold, but just getting little bits of recovery to kind of keep you going, keep you within the pack until you can get an opportunity to snatch a little bit of extra recovery, either on a downhill or you know, getting into that big initial pack so that you can draft off people. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do with these sessions. Another thing is, do practice your race starts, guys. You know, we've got a race start session with our athletes tomorrow actually, where we do a warm-up, but then we'll stop them, no pedals, and then we just practice doing a full gas effort for 10-15 seconds, followed by, you know, it depends on the workout that we're doing, but maybe 2 or 3 minutes at VO2 or threshold or sweet spot or tempo, depending on how evil we're feeling. But practice those race starts, guys. You know, practice going from a standing start. But yeah, it does get easier in time, but you got to do all these things to get there, really. But also, yeah, that anaerobic repeatability. So doing sessions like we've done tonight, where you're going to your end of your range. You're not, you know, may not be hitting the power targets every time, but you know, doing your best to get there. Yeah. Hope that answers your question, Mike. Yeah, I'm afraid so. But yeah, because that really what it comes down to is how much work you can do in an anaerobic state, and it's actually very limited. You know, if you're kind of in zone 7, which if I just go back to, sorry, I'm just going to talk through this because I think it's a really useful point to know. But if we go to our training zones chart, you're in the zone 7 neuromuscular power. That's that phosphocreatine system that, you know, power lifters and, you know, track sprinters lean on heavily. You've only got that for a maximum of 30 seconds, and it is like a fuel tank. It has to regenerate, and you know, you're not going to get a chance to completely refill that tank in the middle of a race. So you have to try and the same with the zone 6, that's your lactic acid system, and that similarly is like a fuel tank. And so you've only got so many matches to burn. And a part of training and a part of doing sessions like this is figuring out how many matches you've got, and how hard you can ride and for how long. And something that brings this all together is kind of like your power duration curve, which we talked about in previous sessions, and your peak powers, etc. But all of that stuff coming together will inform you as to, like, okay, I may not be able to do many anaerobic efforts, so I have to be a bit smarter about how I approach it. I might go hard at the beginning, but as I say, if I don't make that front group in the first 10-15 seconds, ease back into the second group. But what I will do, because I've got a big FTP, I've got a big diesel engine, I'm going to drive that second group on, and I'm going to use them to try and get back up there. So yeah, it all kind of interplays in terms of all the resources and metrics, etc. Probably a whole hour, if not more, session for me to talk through it all, but hopefully some useful information there at least. Anyway, right then, guys. Cheers for the question, Mike. And cheers for everyone's questions. Really appreciate that tonight, guys. Enjoy yourselves this evening. Get a nice high protein meal on, get stretching, get hydrated, all the normal stuff that I say every week, but I bet not everyone does. Take care, guys.